This is Lord Thaddeus Cray, and this time I'm going to be talking about something that I've always enjoyed to talk about, and that I always wanted to. I just haven't gotten a chance really until now, and that is dragons. I'm not going to be going into the entire lore behind dragons. It would take me 10 hours for things I've come across, probably, if not more, when it comes to dealing with these creatures. What are they? Simple. They are reptilian beings that are beyond our comprehension, and they're probably older than existence itself when it comes to their influence and their legend. I have no idea of their origins. That's for people who are much smarter than me to figure out. My job is simply, or my intent is simply to put a few breadcrumbs out there and let you figure out where you need to go from there. That is what I'm doing. I'm going to be bringing up a list of a few dragons, however. The ones I'm most familiar with are, of course, European dragons, and I'm going to be reading them off a list here, so bear with me. What exactly have they done throughout history? They've shaped it. Dragons have also been parts of our culture because they're so powerful they're considered gods. Some of them are literally the original gods, the base gods of their people's culture. Think about it. Tiamat, Quetzalcoatl. That's a couple of them. Orochi. There's another dragon, I believe, named Ryu, which is of Japanese culture, right there with Orochi. Beings that are beyond comprehension. Beyond anything in the mortal coil that we can comprehend. I mean, even, I'm just saying, you're talking like influence that is beyond anything we can comprehend. And their variations are amazing, like with Chinese dragons. Think about it. I mean, long, snake-like bodies with short limbs, fins, almost like aquatic, but they're not. It's pretty amazing stuff, like I said. They have been in our culture for so long, it's ridiculous. Even now, they're extremely popular. Board games, Dungeons and Dragons, for example, it's kind of an old cliche, but it's there. I mean, even more rare might be a game called Shadowrun, which many people are familiar with and many people are not. Basically, a world which is literally run by corporations, and many of those corporations are run by dragons in human form. Something to think about. But I'm going to go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty and try to list these things. I'm going to start with the European dragons. It's mainly what I'm going to cover. You have to remember that. You have these things come from basically the Albanian area of Europe. The bola. It is a type of serpentic dragon. Long coiled serpentine body, 4 legs, small wings. It sleeps throughout the year, only to wake on St. George's Day, where its faceted silver eyes peer into the world. It does this until it sees a human, and then that human becomes lunch. Then closes its eyes and goes back to sleep. There you go. It was worshipped as the deity Boa by the ancestors of the Albanians, Illyrians. It appears in the coat of arms of the house of Boa Shpatata, or how the hell you pronounce that. I'm just saying. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is the kind of influence these creatures have. And it basically would evolve in its 12th year. It becomes a thing called a Colchedra. It grows 9 tongues, horns, spines, and larger wings. And it'll learn how to use its formerly fire-breathing abilities. And now, it was hidden, and now it's not. It can breathe fire without any issue. It is now called a Colchedra. Colchedra or a Hydra. It basically causes droughts and lives off of, you guessed it, human sacrifice. They're killed by what used to be, this is interesting, maybe angels? That's very interesting when you think about it. Many times dragons have been linked to fallen beings, at least when it comes to the Western view. Supposedly these winged warriors, Albanian winged warriors of course, supernatural powers bring them down. You have a creature called a Drek, and that is demonized by Christianity, and is one of the Albanian names for the devil. You have a creature which I'm somewhat familiar with, and this is from the Catalan areas, called a Drak. These are serpent-like creatures with 2 legs and wings instead of the front ones. Most dragons are, when it comes to European, are considered to have like 4 legs and 2 wings, right? These don't. They're almost like, think of Alduin from Skyrim, if you get my drift. That right there would be a good example. You know, two forelimbs, which are wings, and 2 hind legs, which are the feet. And their faces can resemble any type of animal almost. It can resemble a cow, lion, and of course they have fiery breath. And their breath is toxic, and of course, naturally, it will. Yeah, it's scary stuff. A vibria is a female version of these things. Of course, you have the wyvern. These things are very common in medieval heraldry, if you get my drift. And what I mean by that is that period of time. They were, of course, known as dragons with 2 legs and 2 wings, similar to the drac. Or the drake, or however you want to pronounce. Yeah, the drac. However you want to pronounce that. I know that these things, of course, again, kind of like Alduin, Skyrim. I'm using him as an example because he's probably the most famous one. You have so many of these things. They would terrorize people that lived in that area. Many times they might dwell in caves or other types of things. And these creatures were not cute. I do believe, however, that they may have, many dragons of legend may have actually been something else, which is based on fact. What would you do if you put a T-Rex in the middle of a European village? They would panic and, of course, say, oh god, a dragon is coming to kill us and eat us, and, of course, the T-Rex will be trying to kill you and eat you. It's just something to think about. That's an example of many times misplaced legends. That's exactly why I say many times fantasy is based on fact. And of course, the Wyvern was also in Beowulf, which was a very good epic. That's another one. And of course, another term for dragon is worm, which is pronounced W-Y-R-M. And you also have to think about this. Python, constrictor, from Greek mythology, slain by Apollo. I'm just saying, these things have had such a wide influence on our culture. I don't know where they come from, but I would not be surprised if there was some kind of connection maybe to just beings a lot older than mankind. And there have been things that were around long before humans were even thought of. I'm telling you that now. Many of these creatures supposedly have the power to shapeshift, supposedly, according to many legends. They can literally live among people. Some of them have quite literally ruled over countries, cultures. That's just the power these creatures may have. You have so many aspects. Dragons, I do believe firmly, they are probably from a ancient race that, like I said, may have somehow come here and couldn't leave, or maybe they chose not to leave. Maybe they liked eating people too much, or some of them have actually seemed to love to be around people. It's not really known what their motives are. What I do know is there is definitely something that they are based on. I can tell you that now. And make no mistake, I do believe these creatures deserve respect. And me personally, I think they're like just about any other kind of... I'm not even going to go ahead and call them cryptids. There's so much beyond that. I think they just need to be left alone. Now, Christianity, and I mean the other Judeo-Christic, Christianic beliefs, of course you have, the original Judaic faith, and Islam even. They don't really paint dragons in a good light. Now, of course, as, especially when it came to Christianity, as things were taken over and a lot of old cultures and beliefs were railroaded under them, and, naturally people were conquered. I think it's only natural that you pretty much try to make the past look like it's horrific and scary, naturally, because, of course, you don't want people to defect to their old faith. You have to kind of do something to keep them in line, and that makes sense. But at the same time, so many old stories basically had these things as just nothing short of terrifying. Quetzalcoatl, for example. People sacrificed other people to him. I'm just saying, that's something you really, really need to think about. That's dangerous stuff. Very dangerous stuff, what these creatures did. and whatever they controlled. I'm just saying, it seems to me that they were not all. You had some eastern ones that seemed to be pretty decent. I'm just saying, most of these creatures are considered pretty frightening. Now, I think they're neat as anything, but again, if these creatures exist, which I think is very possible, leave them alone. I'm just saying, I think very much a lot of the power that they used to have was taken away for a reason. I'm not exactly too keen on anyone giving them back that kind of power. That's all I'm saying. I do believe firmly that there's some kind of creature that may somehow may live in the realms of this world or beyond, but they're tied to Earth, and for whatever reason, they're not painted in a good light, and I think a lot of that's well-deserved. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. As neat as these creatures are, and as so many variations, you have some that look like chimeras, some that look, of course, like the traditional, really badass but terrifying winged reptilian creature. I just think that these things they're dangerous, and there's so many stories, and the legends behind them there's something there, is what I'm trying to get across. I'm just going to leave it at that. Go and do your own research on when it comes to dragons. I think you'd find so many amazing things. Just on this one page I'm looking at, it's beyond description. And of course, stuff I've grown up, studying and researching, just because I love this kind of stuff anyway. Y'all already know that. I'm just going to go and leave it at that, There's just so many amazing things in our world that some things are best left alone, and some things are definitely best researched. I will kind of give you advice on, when it comes to this, do a little bit of both. There's enough old stories when it comes to dragons that you can definitely find what you need to, and maybe, if you're an avid RPer or anything like that, or you're into writing, creating, yeah, believe me, use the resources. I encourage that. Creativity is a beautiful thing, but at the same time, don't go too far down the rabbit hole. It just ain't worth all that, man. Just gonna leave it at that. Alright. Now, I've been asked a couple of times about when I'm going to be done with my story. The second chapter of Werewolf Hunter will probably be released soon enough. I can't give exact time. It takes me time to do these things. Now, I have just started with the first couple of parts. Over, like I said, probably the next couple of months, and that's a maybe, I might have that out. I do believe it will be worth the wait. I'm going to put everything I got and all my soul into it, like I always do with my work. And moving on from that, of course, you guys know what I do. I'm the producer for Dogman Cams and Chasing the Truth. If you guys have had any cryptid sightings, experiences, or if you're believe you're an expert on these things, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Y'all have my email, wesvic@dogmancams.com. If you want to, my point is, if you have had these kind of experiences and you know about them, hit me up, and believe me, I'll put you on John Bell's show, Dogman Cams. However, if you have had more of a different type of variety when it comes to supernatural, paranormal kind of things, it doesn't have to be ghosts, it can almost be anything, orbs, aliens, whatever. That would end up going to Sean Graham. He, of course, is the host of Chasing the Truth, which is a very, very good show in itself. I am definitely honored to be associated with both men. And, of course, like I said, y'all already have my email. Again, that's wesvic@dogmancams.com if you want to reach me. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll definitely get you in the right direction. You guys be blessed and be safe out there.